motor. It's a Mach .26. All right, just to have. I do not buy these motors anymore. If I want to buy a nitro, I'm gonna get a good quality of, you know, a badass one or a modded motor. I don't waste my time with shit anymore. But this is a good motor to have as a spare for one of the kids. All right, I can always throw this on a spare LST that I have, or my Savage .25. All right, but or anything else. You know, I can throw this on an older truck that I have upstairs. A closer look. Pullstart and rotostart, 2-in-1.
Garbage.
Bullshit one-way bearing motor. I hate one-way bearing motors.
Piece of shit.
What are you gonna do? For a monster truck, you're gonna have to have it. That's why I don't get monster trucks anymore. For nitros.
Either do I.
It's like the Muggy. The Muggy is the only badass one you can get and use to run a real motor. Or truggies. Now, I do not and will never put a motor like this in a truggy. Alright?
Hell no!
You will damage a motor that has a one-way bearing on it. Alright? It's just too many RPMs and metal contact, wear and tear. You do not want to use one of these motors on a single speed truggy or buggy. It's just too many RPMs that this motor cannot do. If I could get a backplate for it and eliminate that, maybe I can get an extra 2,000 or 3,000. You will get a few thousand RPMs more, but should last. But these are good for like
paperweights.
MTs with bigger wheels, heavier wheels, something with more of a load. Right? If you put it on a truggy, it's just gonna snap. It's just gonna want to go.
Blow it up.
Like on an MT, you got the weight on it. You got the bigger tires, and you got second speed. Most of them have a second speed. So once it bangs into second gear, your RPM curve changes, and you're not over screaming this. Because these motors cannot scream like a motor that belongs to a buggy or a truggy. You do not take these motors to those limits. Alright? It would just be a waste of time and a damage of a motor. So this will be one day I'll break her in. Not in a rush. I got plenty other motors. Now, most of you guys know
garbage. What's up, Nitro Nation?
These type of motors.
Just watching while I'm wrenching.
But for the price, I couldn't.
I like to watch.
Alright, we got a really good price. It was actually
Mr. Za.
cheaper than the rebuild kit on a
you know.
Okay.
And I watch other guys too.
It comes on the Savage because it's a workhorse, and it's not that.
Well, I mentioned, but anyway, reminds me why I got a lot of questions. People ask me, you know, can I put a back plate on this motor? I know it's a pull start, and you know, as you guys know, you know, I got the doing some RC repairs, you know, on some, you know, newbies and stuff like that. Since I put that ad in, by the way, I got a lot of response. You know, guys want me to work on some old school offness. I have a couple guys that got Traxxas, and I said, well, you know what? I can wrench on your Traxxas, but I wouldn't really waste your money. You might want to just sell this piece of shit and get you something decent. You know, just Muggy Maniacs is keeping it real. But anyway, these guys out, you know, because a lot of these, I have yet to wrench on anybody's shit, especially newbies or people that are, you know, getting into nitro or whatever, that don't have a pull start. And it reminds me, because when I started 4 years ago in nitro, I had a pull start. That was my first motor, which I still have. The XTM 24.7.
Okay, next goodie.
And you're looking at eventually what happened. This motor couldn't handle the RPMs, and it just yeah, threw a rod right through the side. So I keep this for, you know, conversational pieces. that's basically reminded me of why you shouldn't run a pull start, because eventually that's what'll happen. Anyway, you know, but it taught me. And then the next motor, obviously, real motor that I got was that I ran was the Offna Hyper 21, which I might break out of retirement. This motor still has tons of compression, tons of pinch. You know, and then I moved on to, you know, the Novarossi 28.8 Rex Legend, which, by the way, is on hiatus right now, the stock one anyway, because, as you guys see on my last video, snapped the end of the crank off. So, but, thank God I have the modded one. Although, that one is going to get rebuilt. It will rise again. It will be better, stronger than it was before. So, we'll just rebuild it and make it even better. Because that motor is, you know, I like that only motor that I like. Besides the Offna, that stock, that's a good solid stock 28.8. Perfect for something that you can't put a lot of RPMs. Like, I think the reason I you know, it's good to have a stock 28.8 or, you know, like that, Novarossi, because not only is it's durable and it'll last forever, and, you know, you will have no issues with it. But you can get older platforms, maybe, because I like to collect older stuff, or like an older Muggy, or whatever, and it might not be able to handle the mods, but it will be okay with a stock 28.8. Like I said, I got that, kept that Novarossi stock because it's for the Muggy. So anyway, you know, that was my first real motor, and I never looked back. I never got into rotostarts. I've ran them before. I've never got another. I will never ever buy another Pullstar or rotostart. And like I said, these newbies have been asking me, well, okay, you know, I got to buy a bump box, and you know, I explained the whole deal, the whole reason behind. If you want to get to the next level, the first thing you need to do is get a seal. I'm not even talking modified motors. I'm talking get a sealed motor. Until you run or own a sealed motor, okay, motor with a backplate, okay, like this, which means the back is sealed. That's when you start getting into another level. If you're still fucking around with Pullstarts and rotostarts, man, to me, that's newbie shit. That's like new guy stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. And that's not me just saying that. I mean, you can ask anybody. Ask this guy, Mr. Zaw. He'll tell you too. If you want to, the first step to getting to next level, to be more advanced in 8-scale nitros, you gotta retire that pull start and rotostart bullshit. If you're still running pull starts and rotostarts, you don't even have, you're not even there yet. You're not even, let alone ready for mod. You know, obviously we talk about that next level, you know, platforms. You got to get a next level platform, and I suggest both. Two of the probably most important things for you to advance into 8-scale nitro and get to the next level is, one, having a quality platform, okay. Two, getting a motor that's sealed, a sealed motor. Obviously, you got to get a bump box. And, you know, guys will tell me, well, you know, it's expensive. Bump box are $100. Well, you can spend $100 on a bump box. But I'll tell you what, these are still available. This is one of the best affordable bump boxes. This is my first one I still have. It's a Duratrax Quick Pit Universal. And this thing, by the way, this thing has dual motors. Most of the newer ones, they don't even come with dual motors. I mean, the motors I think are a little bit bigger, but still. And that thing was, it's like you can go on eBay, those quick Duratrax bump starts, they're like 40-something bucks. So you get yourself a $40 bump box, you get yourself a real sealed motor, okay, you whatever you can find, you know, preferably, you know, Novarossi. Start out with maybe a .21 with a sealed backplate on it. you know, and get used to it. Or a .25, or I mean, if you're going to spend that much money these days on .21s, you might as well just get an over Aussie stock 28.8 Rex Legend. They're 190 bucks. By the way, I suggest you get them because they're not going to produce. I was checking on, I think it was No Rossi Direct. They're not. The 28.8s aren't in production anymore. So whatever's out there is out there for right now. That doesn't mean they're discontinued, but who knows? I wouldn't just wait around because you might not be able to get those anymore. So I'm getting another one. I've got a couple 28.8s. You know, I'm gonna fix this one. I have my modded one. I have another one, and I'm gonna have at least 4 or 5 of the 28.8s because you never know, they might discontinue. But anyway. So yeah, that bump box is like 40-something bucks. You get one of those, okay? You get yourself a sealed motor, get yourself a decent platform, and there you go. I mean, whether it's a low C, anything that you can run a sealed motor on. If you guys are dealing with monster trucks, and I mean, I know the guys that have LSTs, and those are classics, but you can't, I mean, you heard what John said. I mean, he doesn't even run monster trucks anymore, you know? The only closest thing I'm getting to a monster truck is my Muggy, and he said he won't even run monster trucks anymore, only his Muggy, because the Muggies, the low C Muggies, you could actually run a bump box on them, so you could put a sealed motor on those things. All the other ones, the LSTs, I know the Savages, the MGT, all those fucking monster truck and shit, you're still fucking with Pullstarts and rotostarts. And by the way, too, I also let people know that those Pullstarts, and because they make Novarossi 28.8s with a Pullstart and a rotostart, they make LRP .32s. They make decent motors that have Pullstarts and rotostarts, which I don't even understand why anybody would run those. All that thing does with all the mechanical shit that's on the back of that motor, if you guys know anything, if not, let me educate you. All that mechanism shit that's on the back of your motor on a pull start or a rotostart is robbing you that motor of 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs. And like you just heard him, Mr. Zah say, and he said this over and over, a lot of people will take a pull start motor and put it, a cheap pull start motor that has a pull start rotostart, and think, let me put a sealed backplate on it and it's cool. Well, if it's not really good quality, all that's going to do is speed up the process of that thing blowing up. Like Dynamites, especially, they're known for that. Any of the Dynamite motors, you take the pull start off of those, you put a backplate on them, you increase the RPMs, obviously. That shit won't last as long as if you just left the pull start on it. You know, I mean, it's cool. You'll get more R's out of it, but you've just cut the life of that motor in half automatically because it's a shit motor. The Dynamite motors are all shit. The quality on them is garbage. So you know, you can get. I tell people you can get one of these Pico P3 28.7s. These things are 135 bucks all day long. Maybe less than 150 bucks at your door. This motor is a badass motor, man. Okay, even stock. This is modded, but even if you get one stock, it's badass. So, you know, and then you got the Novarossis, obviously, which is better quality than this. And it's got an extra port, and that's only 190 bucks, you know, delivered. Less than 200 anyway, and that motor will last you forever. That's, you know, I mean, like I said, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the total package, the 28.8 Rex Legend is the best motor out there. Hopefully, I'll be getting my LRP .32 modified this week. So I want to, and I don't know, I might take it, you know, or my stock. I'm getting a stock LRP .32. I might throw it in this thing. See what happens. So anyway, we checked the diffs. By the way, welcome all Muggy Maniacs, Buggy Maniacs, Truggy Maniacs, Fifth Scale Insaniacs. I don't know, man. I was thinking of running the Nova again, because the Nova needs more fuel run through it. But I don't know. I might give the Nova a little break for now. I I don't know why. Like I said, I'm always been a truck guy. Even though, you know, I like my buggy. I just, for whatever reason, I just have an itch to run my buggy. So, I think I might bust out the buggy and the modified Reds .21. I don't know. It'll be like, we'll call it a game time decision. In the next couple days, we'll see. The Muggy Maniacs are going to run the, I'm either going to run this, the Mugen MBX 7T race truggy, or I was thinking the Techno, because I got to keep track of, this Techno has the last, before I ran the Muggy and had the issues with the motor, I ran this, but I changed the motor, so we got the Pico motor in here. But I know I got to keep track of my maintenance and stuff on my vehicles. This thing, 2 more runs, and then I'd break it down again, because I've already ran it once, and then I did a surface clean. This one, the Mugen's been broken all the way down and clean, and hasn't been ran yet. This, like I said, I usually run at least 2 to 3 full-on bash, you know, full-on wrap sessions, and then I tear it completely down. This one hasn't been torn completely down. It didn't need to. I only ran it once, and I did a good surface clean. Now, this one really doesn't need to, even though I did tear it down because I want to check the diffs. Now, if you want to see what a this is what a XTM Mammoth diff looks like. Very different than any diff that you'll ever see. These diffs, like I said, I think they're the Achilles of this vehicle. But I checked them. I mean, it's still feels pretty good still. It doesn't need to be. I was going to take it apart, but it doesn't need to. Nothing's leaking. I turn it, and it feels pretty stiff. There's 50K in here, so I know when it starts getting really easy to turn, then I know it's time to. I'd say maybe, I don't know, another, let's just say 10 tanks of fuel. So anyway, it feels good. The gears feel pretty smooth. So there's nothing wrong with my gearbox. And this is what the gear housing, or I guess, or whatever you want to call it, looks like. So make sure, just make sure you Loctite everything. Otherwise you're gonna, man, I don't know how many times that I just, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I already put it together, and I'll be like, you know what, I didn't Loctite that. I never had an issue with it before, so I don't need to worry about it. Yeah, you know what? I never got struck by lightning, but let me run around in the rain with a golf iron pointing up in the air. Don't be the reason, people. I use this. This is you can get this at Home Depot. Lucas heavy duty grease. I've used the red stuff, the tacky stuff by Lucas. It wears thin too quick, so I'd rather this green grease works better. But you can use whatever. I mean, regular bearing grease. There's graphite grease some guys use. You can get the specialty, low C grease or Associated, Mugen. They make so many of them. But I mean, as far as affordability, this stuff, you can get these tubes of this for like a couple bucks. Some grease can be pretty expensive, and this works pretty good. And it's pretty cheap, so good grease. So I'll just grease this up real good. Set that right there. check my shim. Sometimes if your motors, if you feel, if you spin it once it's inside of the diff case and it feels kind of rough, you might want to check your shimming. You know, on all motors, you're either going to shim to the left or you're going to shim on the right side. Depending. You'll be able to feel it. You kind of got to mess around with it. Take a shim out, put a shim in. You know, that's why they call it shimming, because you're constantly just shimming the gears. Because they wear, I mean, over time, your shit's going to wear. Another thing I always check is I check the teeth in here, because if you'll look and eventually these teeth will wear. When they start to wear, it's time to replace them. If you don't, you're going to end up stripping out shit. Just more headaches. You know, just remember at nitro, a lot of times, you know, I tell people you just want to be proactive. Okay? Better be safe than sorry. If I was proactive a little bit more, and I'll be honest with you, I'm human, I probably wouldn't have busted the crank, the end off of that Nova. You know how when stuff like that happens, you think about it, damn, you know what? Because after I got done filming that video, I was going to stop running. When I showed you guys, because I thought it was the diffs, and it wasn't, I was going to stop running. But I was like, what the hell, let me just continue to run. Man, bad decision. If I would have stopped running, I wouldn't have broke the end of that crank off. But hey, you live and you learn. What can you do? Word of advice: if you ever have an issue with something and you feel that something in your motor's not right, stop running it. Don't fuck your shit up. Trust me. No good. No bueno. So anyway, see, that's what it looks like when you put it together. That's the XTM Mammoth diff box. Which is kind of cool, because most truggies, buggies, there isn't a case. The diff is, you know, the inner part of this, the diff, is just inside of the box. It's kind of cool because these XTMs, I mean, even though the diffs are kind of weak, at least they're, you know, because here, you got this part here, and then this is the box. It goes inside here. So, but, like you seen on that video where I showed you, the diff gears aren't the strongest, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to put this back together. I'm going to pull the rear end off. I've already got the front end pretty much done, except for just putting the diff back in. Gonna pull the rear end off, put it back together, check it, re-grease the inside of it a little bit. Shocks, center diff. You know, I put Loctite this time, plenty of Loctite. So anyway, if you want to run, somebody asked me real quick. This should be a quick video. I just wanted to kind of update you guys what was going on. But anyway, somebody asked me again, you know, to emphasize on the fuel. Whatever fuel you run, make sure that it's 50-50, which means the nitromethane percentage in it, whether it's, you know, if you run 30%, your motor's going to run cooler, okay, and a lot better, obviously, than compared to running 20-25%. Also, make sure that the synthetic oil that's in it, the nitro mixture that's in it is 50%. 50% synthetic, 50% Castrol, okay? Some of them aren't. Just make sure you check it, that it's 50-50, okay? And, you know, if you're racing, 8-9% lubrication is fine. But if you're not, if you're running all day, you're bashing, you're brapping, you know, you're going to want to run 11% minimum on the lubrication. So, anyway, that's all the Muggy Maniac has got going on. That was just like a quick quick update. I don't know if I'm going to get some wrapping done in the next couple days, but we'll see. I'm not even sure what I'm going to run. It'll just be a surprise. When you guys see it, you'll see it. But other than that, oh, and now that the weather's changing, you might want to think about your plugs, because I know it's been cold, and when it's cold weather, you want to run a hotter plug, obviously. Now that the weather's going to start warming up, you're going to want to cool your plugs off. So, which means you want to run at least between a 5 and an 8. So 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. So any of those plugs is fine. I usually run on Nova Rossi's. I run the on the turbo plug on the any Nova Rossi motor. A number 5 plug's fine. You can run a 6, but you know those Italian motors I like to run a little warm. On a regular glow plug, I would probably run like around a 6. As the weather warms up, I think that's fine. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Muggy Maniac gives some shout outs to everybody. Roger 111 doing his race thing, man. You know, I wanted to kind of touch on that. You know, if you guys seen Roger's video, that's why racing sometimes, you know, guys get really, really like serious. I mean, they're like, they want to fight and shit like that. I mean, it's all fun, man. I mean, come on. You know, I've had stuff like that happen when I used to race. Almost get into fist fights with people. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that didn't discourage me from racing. There was other reasons, but that was, you know, that doesn't help. You know, I don't blame Raja, man. I wouldn't go to that track anymore either, because you might end up whooping somebody's ass. Like you said, you're going to jeopardize your freedom, which means you're going to whoop somebody's ass and you're going to end up in jail for whooping that ass. You know what I'm saying? But you know, people want to get stupid. Especially some of these hillbillies and rednecks and, excuse my language, these, you know, fucking dirtbags that go to some of these tracks that don't know dick. And you know, Mr. you know, Joe Racer here, and, you know, he gets all bent out of shape because he makes a few mistakes and, you know, expects you to lay down for him. Fuck off. I'd have ran that. You know what? I would, if I got back into racing, I'd be treating that shit like NASCAR. Your ass is going into the wall. Sorry, I don't even care if you're a friend, family. I don't care who it is. If we're racing and it comes between me and you winning, guess what? You're going in the wall. And if you put me in the wall, hey, rubbing's racing, right? I'm not going to want to fight you. Or it's a freaking hobby, man. It's supposed to have fun. People just get too serious. Same thing, you know, kind of, I can revert back to, you know, even though it's kind of cooled down now, for now, I don't expect the guy is going to go away. But, you know, Mr. You-Know-Who, I haven't heard anything from him. He hasn't been talking shit lately. He just kind of settled back. Does that mean that everything between me and him is cool? No, it doesn't, because he's never apologized. I don't feel, I mean, I don't expect him to apologize, and I really don't care if he apologized. Just go away. Retire, ride off into the sunset. Hey, I still watch his videos because that guy, you know, like I said, I give credit due where credit's due. Even if I don't like somebody, I'm going to give you credit due. I don't like Horizon. You guys know I hate Horizon. But I give them credit due where credit's due because their customer service is one of the best. And they've always taken care of it. So I can't deny that. The same thing with, you know, Mr. You-Know-Who I'm talking about. That guy knows his shit, and I watch his videos still to this day because I've learned a lot from him. And I will still refer back to his videos. Does it mean that I like the guy? Well, I don't have to like the person. I don't know. I don't hate him, and I don't really, you know, I don't really dislike the guy. I just think he disrespected me and started talking shit when he had no business saying anything to me in the first place. But, you know, hey, I forgive and forget. I don't, you know, I don't lose any sleep over somebody like that, or anybody that comes at me like that. I could care less. You guys know how the Muggy Maniac is. I'm just gonna, you know, as long as I'm armed with facts, I'll defend myself. If I don't have facts, well, then I can't defend myself. And why would I defend myself? I just man up. You know, that's all it comes down to. Be a man, man up. I make mistakes. I do shit wrong. I'm not perfect. I mess up all the time. And I'll tell you that. I'm not going to hide nothing. I don't have nothing to hide. So anyway, that's just how I roll. So I don't expect the guy just to go away. As long as he's around, I'm sure he's still gonna think that he can govern or modern me, or try to find some kind of flaw, even if it's a character flaw with me. But I don't care. I'm not going to worry about that person. All I'm worried about, like I said, is helping the newbie. You guys got questions. You guys got concerns. You guys got issues. Hey, if you need my help, that's what I'm here for. Here to help teach you guys, you know, get to the next level and have fun at the same time, man. This is all about having fun, man. It's not too serious. You don't need to get up. People get too serious about this shit. The only thing I'm serious about this is taking care of my shit, because I put serious money into it. So that to me is the only thing serious in this hobby. I'm serious when it comes to maintaining, taking care, and upkeeping everything that I have invested, because I want to protect my invested. That's a smart thing to do. And you got to ask yourself, are you going to protect your investment, or are you just going to squander it and just, you know, piss it away and do whatever, you know what I mean? So you do what you want, to each his own. That's all the Muggy Maniacs got. Peace them out. I'll catch you guys. The next video will be a brat video. Still looking for the Novarossi crank. Haven't found one yet. Who knows? I might end up just buying a beat up Novarossi motor and pulling the crank out of it. Getting some, because there's plenty of those. And I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that. I'd rather put a brand new crank in there. But, you know, the motor's, you know, not brand new anyway. It's got a few, 3 gallons almost through it now. So even if I get a used crank, as long as it's in good condition, I'm going to throw it in there. Or I might get a DLC Coda crank, like I said. They're just pricey. And then get the ceramic bearings. I mean, that, I don't know. It depends. I know that motor's worth it. I might invest another couple $100 into that motor again. I mean, even though I never got it modded, just, you know, to upgrade it a little bit, since I've got it apart. So anyway, if you guys got your shit retired, shelf bitches, shelf queens, whatever you want to call it, make sure you set your piston bottom dead center. I always got to remind you guys. Okay, bottom dead center, after no, don't jack your shit up. But Muggy Maniacs out. I'm going to finish doing my wrenching and watching some more Mr. Za. All right, peace.